In this video, I'm going to talk about how exactly I got into UCL medical school, including my BMAT score, which might actually surprise you. If you're new here, I'm Hasan and I'm a third year medical student at UCL. I've got a year off from med school, so I'm trying to make the most of it by making these videos. And let me know if there's any particular videos you guys want to see. To cover my GCSEs briefly, I got 3 A stars, 3 A's and 5 B's, which would mean I got 3 809s, 3 7s and 5 6s, which meant I wasn't really off to the best start. And silly me, I fell in love with the idea of applying to UCL. So of course I had to do whatever I could to make that seem a reality. I even called the UCL admissions team and I told them about my GCSE scores, and it wasn't the most motivating conversation, to be honest. I was told honestly that my GCSEs were well below average of the typical applicant, which would be all A stars, if not a few A's. So let this be a lesson for all of you out there. Apply smart, but keep your ambitions and have faith. UCL is actually one of the few universities that requires you to sit the BMAT, which is an admissions test. The other one is the UCAT, which most unis use, and some of the few exceptions are Oxford, Cambridge, UCL of course, and Leeds, which you have to sit the BMAT for. I sat my BMAT in November 2017, which is the latest sitting. For those of you that don't know, there's 2 sittings for the BMAT. One is September, where you get your result before you actually apply, and the later one in November after you've applied. I had to take the risk with the November sitting as I sat my UCAT in September and I wanted sufficient time to prepare for my BMAT. Fast forward to BMAT results day, I got 4.5 in section 1, 5.4 in section 2 and 3.58 in my essay. I got my BMAT result towards the end of November, and from here I didn't hear anything at all from UCL Medical School until February. And I'm not going to cap, this was well after all my other interviews. I started to lose hope. I reached a stage where I was searching when is the last day that UCL give interviews, and it was quickly approaching it, I'll tell you that now. But I was given an interview on Valentine's Day. It must have been something I said in my personal statement. My interview was 10 days away and I'd barely prepared for it at all. I didn't expect to get my interview so quickly, and it was my first panel interview, and my other 3 universities were MMI interviews, so I had to prepare, and I had to prepare quick. So my boys, being the legends they are, prepared a panel style interview for me with the medicine interview mark sheets I found on the UCL website. These mark sheets were the ones that the UCL Medical School actually used themselves to mark us during our interviews, and I just happened to find them on the website. I got them printed out and I got my boys to do a little mock interview for me where I come in, I sit down in front of them and they asked me a series of questions to help me prepare. Fast forward to the day of my interview, all the applicants got a tour of UCL and we were then put into a room together and were told briefly what the interview will look like, and we were left to prepare or talk. Me being the pleb I am, I misread my interview time. I thought it was at 2:30, so bearing in mind it's 12:30 right now, I'm sat there nice and easy thinking I've got 2 hours, took out my sandwich, took a bite, trying to find some notes on my phone, and I was mid-bite when an interview lady came in and called for my name. I froze until I realized she was calling for me. Turns out it wasn't at 2:30, it was at 12:30, and I was the first applicant to be called. So there I am, throwing my laptop, my notes, and like my open sandwich, and just throwing it into my bag. So many eyes staring at me. I went to my interview, I greeted my interviewers, and I began my interview. 15 minutes later, on the dot, my interview ended and I thought I botched it. I went back into the room, I grabbed my stuff, and I left feeling so disheartened, thinking I lost my chance at UCL. Over the next 9 days, I caught up on my college work by making notes, and then I was walking with my boy Junaid in college, took my phone out, and I saw an email from UCL saying I'd been successful and I've been given an offer. I couldn't process it, so I put my phone back into my pocket, and then I took it out a minute later, and I swear down, I got my offer from Manchester Medical School. So both offers came back to back. I turned to Junaid, almost about to cry, saying, bro, I think I just got 2 offers. I proceeded to work like crazy leading up to exam season, and my routine looked somewhat like this. 7 a.m. I would wake up and I'd get ready. At 7:30 I'd leave home, I'd get on the college bus and I'd get to college for about 9ish, sometimes 8:30, and I'd study during all my free periods, which would be about 3 hours, 3.5 hours a day, and I'd have my lessons as well. Then I'd jump on the bus, I'd come home for about 5 o'clock. From 5 till 6, I'd eat in 5 minutes, and then I'd play Fortnite for an hour with my 2 friends, Henel and Junaid, who were both at medical school as well, and this was non-negotiable. I did this every day for a whole month before exam season, and even during exam season. At the time, we all knew how important it was to de-stress during a time like this. We were very disciplined with the 5 till 6, because as soon as 6 o'clock hit, we'd all get off, and from 6 to 11, because I've never been able to study at home, I'd go to my friend's house who is also at medical school at Manchester. He lives a 2-minute walk away, and I'd study with him. I'd then come home and sleep at 11 o'clock, and this all paid off because on results day, alhamdulillah, I left with 2 A stars and an A, and my place at UCL was confirmed. I like making videos like this to be as transparent as possible and to show you guys that although my GCSEs and BMAT score were both on the lower side, I want to show you guys what's real and what's possible and not perpetuate a false ideal that's impossible to reach. I showed you guys how I was able to play games for an hour every day during exams, even if I had one the next day. I'm a huge fan of transparency, and I've been inspired by the likes of Ali Abdal with how transparent he's been on his journey throughout medicine and on YouTube. You guys might be wondering how I got an offer from UCL despite having a low BMAT score and low GCSEs. The way UCL works is they take a holistic approach to your application, so they take into account all aspects, whereas Newcastle, for example, only looked at your UCAT score and ranked you based off that and then gave you an interview from there. So I did also apply to Newcastle, but the reason I still applied to UCL is because of the holistic approach that they take to selecting applicants for interview. I genuinely hope you guys found this video useful, and if you did, drop it a cheeky like to help the YouTube algorithm. It'll take a second for you and it means the world to me. Thank you, and I'll see you guys next week.